everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody had a good Turkey Day to those who celebrate. Since the Halloween video was so intense and long and difficult to do, I decided to just do something a little bit more chill for this month. And I decided that I wanted to do a color palette challenge, since that's one of my favorite things to do. At first I was just gonna do a random color palette challenge, but I already did one of those like 15 bajillion years ago, and also that's what literally every other person on the planet does. And then I found out about this wonderful website called Rejected Palettes. So the idea behind Rejected Palettes is that it's all the palettes that have been rejected from the website LowSpec, which is one of the most popular online communities for specifically pixel art color palettes. And they had a bunch that just didn't go through their submissions or whatever and weren't allowed on the site. And one very, very nice person decided to actively archive all of them so that way anybody could use them even though they're not allowed on LowSpec. Really loved the idea of a entire website dedicated to palettes that were more strange or unusual and that have been rejected, obviously. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I will be making art with 3 palettes from Rejected Palettes. Just a disclaimer, I did set some ground rules for myself that kind of make the challenge a little bit easier for me personally. First of all, these palettes were originally made for pixel art, but I am not a pixel artist, I'm just a normal digital artist, which, I guess all digital artists technically pixel art, but you know what I mean. So I just did it normally with my normal art style. I didn't try to do pixel art just for this video. And on top of that, even though I did technically only use the colors provided and black and white, I did decide to still utilize all of the same blending modes and opacity and all that kind of stuff I usually use in my art. So some of the colors definitely display different from how they originally appear in the palette. So yeah. With all of that out of the way, enjoy the video. I hope you like the art. Alright, first one up is a piece that I called Bad Bitch Alert. Even though I had this giant collection of palettes that I chose out and put all on one document, I asked all my friends which ones they liked the most, and multiple people chose this one, VHS City by Yari. For all of these pieces, I started off with just a concept sketch of the character themselves before I put them in a full composition, since I knew they were going to be the focal point. And a lot of my Halloween illustrations were much more focused on background details and world building, and I kind of just wanted to scale back and focus more on cool character, because that's kind of my comfort zone when it comes to art. And I was also practicing on designing characters because I want to start making adoptables at some point, so I wanted to see if my designing skills were still up to par. I was inspired a little bit by the name of the palettes when I was making these, for sure. When I heard VHS City, I was thinking of old vapor wavy web aesthetics, which is not analog, so I don't know why I thought of that when I heard VHS City, but I think it's because it reminded me of old neon city streets you see in old anime and stuff. And this demon girl is inspired predominantly by streetwear and traffic signs. I really wanted to give her these big pants and these cool arrows going across her outfit. I also just personally really like drawing demon characters. I'm not really sure why, I've just been like this since I was a kid. And I also ended up with this grungy Frutiger Metro inspired urban aesthetic. I love Frutiger Metro a lot, and I've been trying to incorporate it into my art style for a while, and I think that turned out pretty nicely. I've also just been trying to let my sketch get into the final product in some way instead of just smoothing out or finishing every little part, so I let the stars and city be the background and stay all sketchy. I definitely think it sells the more grungy look of the whole piece better. And finally, I added these custom little window pop-ups to kind of sell the webcore vibe I was going for. These were made using Bara's error message generator, which is super in-depth and fun to work with. I got to choose all the colors and stuff myself. I will definitely link it in the description. Go and show them some love since it's a passion project, and these ended up being really fun assets to use. So that was pretty cool. As for what the pop-up itself means in the context of the piece, I was just thinking about, well, she's a hot demon girl. She's a baddie, bad bitch alert. It's not more serious than that for her. I decided to keep this motif of these pop-ups going through the rest of the drawings I did, and some of them turn out to mean more than just being silly, but this one is pretty silly. It was the first one I did, and I didn't have any deeper thoughts about it. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty cool. I'm really happy with this one. I thought it was going to be the most challenging because of how simple and restrained this palette is, but I think I did a good job. Alright, this next drawing is using Venom 8 by Retronova. Not only was I in love with this original palette and already kind of had an idea for it, but it was right next to VHS Girl on the list, so I knew I just had to draw the last girl a bestie. The first drawing I did ended up creating a visual language that I used for the rest of the pieces. Originally I wanted to do illustrations that felt wildly different from each other, but I just loved the way the first one came out so much, and I love making series, so I should have saw this coming. With that in mind, I also wanted to make her a streetwear rocking monster girl to some degree, just like the demon girl was. I decided that her streetwear is more skater and emo inspired than the demon girls, just for a sense of variety, and I made her a naga because I love nagas like I love drawing demon girls, and I felt like they have a similar energy, being a mythological creature with a bad reputation. Her star motif was kind of random, other than the fact that stars are kind of sharp, and I wanted her shape language to be sharper too. The spiral motif is inspired by the myth of snakes hypnotizing their victims, though. I decided to place her background on the beach because I really wanted to involve some palm trees. I don't know, I just think they're aesthetic and cool. And I also associate skaters with the beach. I'm not sure why, it just seemed to fit to me. I also thought that the more natural atmosphere would contrast well with Demon Girl's towering city. And like I said, the pop-ups come back. I decided to frame her as kind of like a conversation between her and a person confronting her. I'd like to think she's the kind of person where there's a lot of rumors about her being mean or petty or getting in drama, but I don't think they're actually true. I think she's actually a cool, chill person, and people are just obsessed with trying to ruin her. Luckily, she doesn't seem to care, since all of her options are just different versions of leave me alone. And yeah, that's her. I think she turned out super duper pretty and super duper cute, and I really love how the design language kind of translated to this one. So yeah.
We interrupt this program to let you know that Rosie's strapped for cash and selling commissions. Have your OC or partner or whatever the fuck turned into a high-quality digital art piece? Check her Ko-fi and artistry links in the description for more information. If you want to see this dumb faggot in person and buy her handmade nonsense, he'll also be at Ocean City Comic Con, December 13th to 14th. She doesn't have an online shop because it's too much work and money right now, so this is the only place to get exclusive pieces, such as prints, stickers, playthings, and hopefully more. Go bother him.
Alright, we're already on to the last drawing. At first I actually thought it was just going to be the last two, but I got a burst of inspiration for a third one randomly, and I decided to make them a third friend. His color palette is Super Sky by Omar Alexander Gonzalez Pacheco? I hope I pronounced that even a little bit correctly. I'm sorry if I didn't. Because he was made a little bit later, he's definitely a little bit more of an odd one out because I wasn't following as closely as the other two, but I think that's okay. He's still following the motifs I had for the other two, just in a little bit of a different way. I decided to make him an angel boy, a direct parallel to the demon girl. In a similar way, while the demon girl was very tomboyish and big clothes, this guy has very tight-fitting feminine clothes. I also kind of like the contrast of an angelic character being in an outfit that's pretty immodest and gender non-conforming, like he doesn't even care about the expectations people have for him. And he actually has a completely secondary outfit in my original sketches. I decided not to go with it because I showed both options to a bunch of my friends, and everybody just kind of decided that they liked the other one better, but I did include his fish jacket because I was just obsessed with it, and I just decided to let it slide down so it could show off the other parts of his outfit. And I just really wanted one of his motifs to be fish. I was thinking about, like, fish out of water, the idea that he's not supposed to be on Earth, and I was also literally thinking about the angelfish, like the species, and that's kind of what's supposed to be swimming up above him, in case it's unclear. His other motifs are just eyes, since I am not immune to biblically accurate angel imagery, even if it's just a little. And also, eyes are fish-shaped. Fish are eye-shaped. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing, something to think about, I guess? I feel like this one is generally more abstract than the other two, but he's supposed to be leaning up on a balcony railing with the ocean behind him, in case that is literally impossible to tell. And finally, his pop-up. Like I said, he's a fish out of water, he's not supposed to be on Earth, maybe he's a fallen angel or something? But just like the Naga doesn't care that she has a bad reputation, he doesn't care that he's not being angelic anymore and that he's on Earth. He likes Earth, and he wants to stay here, and that's all he has to really say about people questioning him about it. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with how he turned out. Even though he is different from the other two, I just love his vibes, and these colors are just beautiful, honestly. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with him. Here are the finished pieces! Even though this was originally just supposed to be a fun challenge for me, I feel like I made some really substantial pieces that I'm really, really happy with. I also feel like the nature of the palettes got into the work itself, as I feel like I ended up with a story of rejected people who still live their lives and keep their confidence regardless of what other people think about them. Maybe I made it too deep, I don't know. But regardless, I think they turned out really, really pretty, and I hope you guys like them too. Thank you so much for watching! Don't forget to check out Rejected Palettes' website, I'll have it linked down below. If you do get inspired by this video and decide to make art with some of their palettes, they have an entire section on the website dedicated to displaying work that people have made, which I think is super duper cool and sweet, and it's an awesome site with a really fun initiative, and they have more details about their manifesto and why they started the project to begin with. So yeah, I highly recommend visiting. Also remember that I have a Ko-fi and an artistry where you can always support me and buy commissions if you enjoy the stuff I make. I hope you have a great day, evening, whenever you're watching this, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!